is the President of the United States issuing, I believe, his first pardon in office. And the first pardon in office, using his constitutional power to pardon, goes to none other than Sheriff Joe Arpaio. That, of course, the extremely controversial figure in Maricopa County in Arizona who was convicted of criminal contempt of court for refusing to stop detaining Latino immigrants in violation, according to the court, of their civil rights. The president tonight granting a presidential pardon to Joe Arpaio, the former sheriff of Maricopa County, talking about his selfless public service after serving in the Army, his bio, clearing him of that charge. We know that that was something that he essentially promised the other night when he was in Phoenix. An incredibly controversial decision that will be faced with tremendous backlash. Joe Arpaio just lost re-election by 10 points in an area, despite the fact that it was quite Republican, because of the fact largely he was perceived as being a lawless, dogged pursuer of bigoted policies directed against Latinos, a court finding him criminally in contempt and him being convicted, which itself is quite rare to get to. And after that, the President of the United States using his first pardon to come in and say that this man, who a court of the United States found to be in lawless violation of the law of this country, to be pardoned. Jill, this is you know, the pardon power sort of always lurked over Nixon, and when it's applied in this way, I think lawyers have some pretty strong feelings about it. What do you make of it?
I am appalled and shocked. This is so much worse than anything I could have possibly envisioned. Let's point out that President Nixon did not use his pardon power, and that President Ford did pardon Nixon and lost the election when he ran for re-election, largely because he used that pardon power. And so, despite all warnings to President Trump that there might be political consequences from this, what I would consider a lawless act, which is his pardoning someone who violated civil rights at every opportunity, this is every time I think that President Trump cannot go any lower or do anything worse, he surprises me and does.
I believe we have our own justice correspondent, Pete Williams, NBC's Pete Williams, on the phone right now to give us maybe a little more information about this. What do we know about when this happened and why it happened?
Well, the White House hasn't formally said yet what the thinking was behind it, but the president himself has laid it out pretty clearly, Chris. Of course, the president, as you've pointed out, the president undoubtedly has the total constitutional authority to pardon anybody he likes. Presidents can pardon people at any point after they've been charged with a crime, while the trial's going on, after they've been convicted. The normal pattern, though, is for presidents to pardon people after the Justice Department makes a recommendation to a president. Typically, the Justice Department won't recommend anyone for a pardon until they've served at least 5 years of a sentence and have, perhaps more significantly, expressed some remorse. And, of course, there's none of that here. Joe Arpaio has insisted that he never did anything wrong. He was convicted of criminal contempt after he was found in civil contempt for disobeying court orders to have his deputies stop the practice of stopping people on the street if they suspected they might be here illegally, and they had nothing more to go on than that. So there's no show of remorse. Arpaio's lawyers had said they would appeal the criminal contempt conviction, and that process is still going on. But undoubtedly, the president had complete authority to do this. So this falls in the category of what you've just been talking about, of political pardons, rather than the normal pattern of following the advice of the Office of Pardon Attorney at the Justice Department. Nothing can be done about this. It's the president's complete authority to do it. There's no undoing it. It's a simple, that's that.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.